Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, Sushant, we can see it.
Okay. All right. I'll move to the white theme. Okay. So the platform is comprising of three major modules: the option chain module, the payoff chart, or the strategy builder, and there is some additional analytics in the dashboard tab. Okay. So let's start with the option chain. Um, so the option chain comes in two modes. The first mode is called the standard mode. The other is called the straddle mode. And I'm going to walk you through both of them for you. So in the standard mode, this is the custom fields that are available by default, but the user has the ability to change these fields. You just have to right click on any of the headers in the column, and you will get a list of all the metrics that you can add to your option chain. That includes all the price, volume, open interest, bid ask, all the Greeks, IV, in the money probability, theoretical price, extrinsic price. So there's a whole ton of metrics that you can just go ahead and keep adding. So for example, if I want to add, say, delta and gamma, so I just added delta and gamma and it got added to the table. So that's the first way how you can customize your option chain fields per your requirement. Okay. Secondly, there are some built-in modes available. For example, the price mode, where all the price related details are pre-populated. Okay. Similarly, if somebody wants to look at all the Greeks in the same time, that is also available. So that's how you can manage the option chain panel. The option chain panel is provided in terms of expiry. So you can choose the expiries here. So you can see 1 day, 2-day expiry, something expiring in 8 days. So let's go to the 8-day expiry. So this is the expiry of this is the option chain that will expire in the 8 days. Now on the right hand side on the top, you get certain metrics like what is the at the money IV, what is the cumulative OI, what is the max pain of this particular expiry, what is the PCR value in terms of volume and OI, and some bearish or bullish kind of indicator in general, right? Now, just below it, there are certain adjustments so that you can make to your columns. Normally, the columns can be adjusted with the mouse itself, but there are some additional defaults available. On the right hand side, there is a ability that you can sort the entire option chain based on strike price. So if you want it in ascending order or descending order, you can do that. On the top right corner, you can choose the number of strikes you want to see. So for example, right now I have 16. If I want to go to 64, it will give me all of the strikes. Okay. So I don't know, probably 128 is the highest. So for now, for the sake of this demo, I'm going to just keep it to 16. Okay. So you get to see 8 strikes above the underlying and 8 strikes below the underlying. Now, any questions so far? Okay.
Sushant, what is this max pain?
Max pain is a metric where basically you are looking at, I'll come to that when I go and explain the straddle. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll go to the straddle part and then I'll explain this. It will be
Okay.
easier. Okay.
Okay. And one more question. This PNL here, what does this represent?
The PNL is going to represent your total PNL in the account after you have taken positions from this platform, right? So you can use this platform for both virtual trading as well as real trading. So on the top, as you can see, I am in the virtual trade mode, but you can select it to real and directly trade through Delta. But you also have the ability to back test using virtual trading.
Okay, and the PNL
So
is the entire PNL, not just for the options that are visible in the option chain currently.
no, this PNL will give you, so for example, when we go to the payoff chart, whatever positions you take in the payoff chart, and I'm going to show you that PNL will show here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, by default, right now, I don't know if my account has any orders. So it has some orders, but it doesn't have any positions. As you can see here in the bottom, I have this ledger tab where you can get to see your trades, your orders, your positions, but I don't have any positions here. Otherwise, those positions PNL will show up here.
Okay.
Okay, so it will include both your virtual and your real trade position together, but I'll show you also how you can segregate and see one at a time. Okay, we'll come to that in a while. Okay, so that explains how you can basically manage your option chain. Now, the next part is, can I trade directly from the option chain? The answer to it is yes. Okay, we'll try and get to that. So right now, for example, I am in virtual mode. Okay, so you can use these buy or sell signals, symbols. Okay, and you have to go to the settings on the top, and here under options, there are multiple settings available. So by default, we have chosen that the buy and sell button should be available on hover, but if you want to hide it, you can do that. Okay, so these buy and sell buttons enable you to take position. So for example, if I, for example, this contract 22,500 in BTC, if I do like a buy, okay, a basket window will open from the bottom. Okay, now this says, for example, so let me go ahead and choose the option chain from here. Okay, the one that will expire in 8 days. It's easier to explain that way. So for example, if I sell, you can see that this contract is part of the now what you call as the basket, and the PNL has started calculating it. Okay, now this is a virtual trade, and you get two options here: paper trade and real trade. So it is up to you to decide whether you want to take this to the paper mode or to the real mode. Okay, you have the ability to choose the buy or sell from here as well. You can alter the expiry, the size, whether call or put, strike price. Okay, so all of this is can be changed in the basket mode. So right now it is waiting for your confirmation. Once you paper trade, okay, this gets confirmed. Okay, so now under paper you can see that I have taken this contract 23,500. Okay, 1,000 contracts, and that's why you can see it in 1,000 here. Okay, under paper, that's 1,000. You can see, and it's in red. That means in sell mode. Any questions so far? All right. So now here in the bottom, you can see that this is the position that you have taken in the paper mode. Okay, so if you hover over this green signal, you will see that paper mode, it is open. It's a sell. This is the symbol segment. This is the expiry. This is what you call as call or put. This is the number of contracts you've chosen. This is a strike price. This is the average entry price, and this is the mark LTP price right now. So based on the LTP, the PNL is getting calculated. Clear? Any questions?
Sushant, one question here. This is already a position. So why are you allowing users to edit strike price for a position?
So this is in a virtual mode. So we do allow in a virtual mode, but in a real mode, all of these will be disabled. So for example,
Okay.
if I actually trade this position, okay, I don't know if I have the balance to trade 1,000 quantity, but let's just say, for example, I take one lot, which is 0.001 quantity. Okay, and if I trade on it, okay, let me the order is now filled and successfully traded. Okay, so now that the order is traded, if it has actually traded, which I'll check here. Okay, I think I did not have the balance. It got cancelled, guys. Anyways,
Shashank, then why did you get the message? Fills executed successfully.
one moment, let me check. Just a sec. I hope I had the balance. One moment. Let's check. Okay. All right, guys. So as you can see, it got filled. Okay. And this was the quantity. Okay. And this is the PNL right now. Okay. So now what is going to happen is, if I go back to my strategy builder in the bottom, you will see that this real trade under real, this position is showing. Okay, and right now you are not in a position to change or alter any of these parameters. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, the PNL you said is being calculated on LTP, right?
Mark price.
Okay. Uh, can you just open that your paper trade again? I want to see.
So right now
Yeah,
it's very, very
here,
less, minus 0.01,
that
because
is
my
fine.
quantity is just one.
Yeah, my question is, you said that it shows mark oblique LTP. These are two
Mhm.
separate things. Can we just have it like one so that it doesn't confuse users? On let's just, for example, if we are calculating gross PNL on mark price, then it should only show mark price, not mark oblique LTP, because the input is also just one. Other than that, in that area, you can just show 175.23 oblique the LTP price. Otherwise, you should in the heading also it should only say mark price.
All right, we'll take that as a feedback. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So now that you have taken this position, you can also see it in option chain. All I'm going to do is right click and put the real version. Okay. And so under this position, you have to, so right, let's go to the payoff chart. Okay. So this is the payoff chart. In the payoff chart, you are able to see your position on the left hand side. Okay. So it's the same information as in the strategy builder in the bottom, but it's just that some people have the habit of looking at it on the left hand side. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so now if I want to close this position, for example, okay, I can do that both from the left hand menu and in the bottom menu. So all I have to do is I have to go here and close position. Okay, so once I do that, the position got closed and this order is out. Any questions so far?
Is there no other way of closing a position without clicking, without using right click? Currently, you had to do a right click and then in the dialog box, there was a close position.
There is. I'll show you how. So let me take a paper position here. I'll show you. So there is something called as, so for example, this is the position, right? So here, in this, there is something called a square off. Okay. So if I use the square off button, it will square off the position.
Will it square off all the existing positions, or do you have capability
That
to square
that
off?
that depends on how many you select here. So
Okay,
these
good.
this checkboxes define what you want to close at a point in time. Okay. Okay, let me get rid of this. So that's how you basically just place an order either in paper or in real mode and close the position. Now, if you want to go a bit further and want to do more complex stuff, that's where basically the payoff chart is more useful. Okay. It has some pre-built, for beginners like buy call, buy sell, buy put, sell put. It's like for beginners who don't know much about options. If they just want to try out the platform, that's what it is. But if you are already in the game, then you would probably use either the predefined strategies or the custom strategies. Okay, so under the predefined strategies, there are a set of 45 or 50 predefined strategies which are very common, and you can choose any one of them. So for example, I can choose something like Iron Condor. Okay, and then I will choose the expiry, say the one that will expire in 7 days. Okay, and then I will just put apply. Once I put apply, this is the Iron Condor. Okay. Obviously, the shape is a little weird because I've just taken a contract of one size, but have I taken, say, 1,000 in each? Say if I put 1,000, this will look much better. Okay. Now from here, if I put paper trade, this is the payoff chart of your strategy, which is Iron Condor. And these are each of the legs underneath it. So normally it will be folded. So you can unfold it, the panel, and you can see all the legs underneath your strategy called Iron Condor. Okay. So the payoff chart comes with two lines. One is the PNL as of today, and then there is the black one, which is the PNL as of expiry. You have the ability to choose something called on the left hand side, something called as hover tooltip, and this will kind of give you the figures as well. Okay, so the on target date is basically the lower curve, as you can see on this one, which is as of today, and on expiry is after 7 days how the PNL is going to be looking like. Any questions?
How do you change this target date?
The target date is always fixed, which is the day on which you are doing your analysis, and the expiry date is based on, you know, the legs that you have chosen.
So I can't select, like, if I want to see what my PNL will look like 2 days from now.
Yes,
That I
yes.
that I can't do.
You can. For that, there is something called a scenario analysis. Okay.
I see.
So what if analysis gives you the ability to move the slider and choose how many days you want to go up to, say after 3 days. Okay. So let me put it into a dark mode. Just one moment, guys. So you can see now a third line called blue line is appearing. Okay. Now this blue line is the what if line. That means after 3 days, how your PNL is going to be. Obviously, when you move it to the end, which is the 7 days, it will be same as the white line, correct? Or very near to it. But on 0, it will and this is the line at which it is right now. So you have the ability to kind of move this slider to see the impact of time decay on your PNL. Similarly, you have something called as volatility decay. So volatility by default is chosen as 0, but you have the ability to move it, okay? And the blue line will adjust accordingly. Okay. Any questions?
No, the volatility you must be using would be the current volatility, right? Not
Yes.
0.
0 means relative to the
No.
current volatility. So this is the offset
Okay.
factor.
I see. Okay.
Yes. And if you want to see the, for example, the positional Greeks, okay, so under every strategy that you create, you get to see these Greeks just underneath it. Maybe I'm not sure if it is very clear. You get to see the delta, gamma, vega of the positions, okay, and you also have something called as Greek bar. So if you take the Greek bar, you can look at these positions either in decimal or in USDT format. I'm assuming that the audience knows the basics of options. Okay, so that is my primary assumption when I'm making these statements. Okay, now in a payoff chart, there are certain things which are important. One, we have seen the PNL of today. Second, we have seen the PNL as of expiry. Third, we have seen how time decay and volatility can impact your PNL. Okay. Now we also get to see these markers are basically nothing but the positions that you have taken. Okay, so you have taken 4 positions, 4 legs. Each of this is one marker. P means put, C means call, green means buy, red means sell. Okay, any questions so far? So your total PNL, which is minus 42 showing here on the top as well, you can see it, is basically a summation of the PNL of each of the legs underneath. Okay. So underneath you are able to see, for example, the time on at which the positions were taken, the average price of entry, and the current LTP or mark price, whatever you want to call it, based on which the PNL is getting calculated.
So can I do this analysis without taking the positions? So what all is available before you actually do the trade?
So this is in a paper mode, but if, for example, if you want to do this exact analysis without actually taking the position, then what you have to do is you have to keep it in the basket. That's all. So let me delete the strategy. Suppose I want to create a similar kind of a custom strategy. Okay, so let me call it, say, custom strategy. Okay. Create a custom strategy, you have to click the add button, add a leg, and the option chain will open up from the left hand side. You can choose the number of strikes from the top. Now, for example, if I want to make a simple straddle, okay, so I'm taking a buy and a buy. Okay, so right now the positions have not actually been taken. So as you can see, there is no position taken, but it's still in the basket. and I'm still able to see these metrics or this PNL here. Okay, now if I clear it from here, they will go away. Okay, so right now, for example, I have taken this position on the expiry that is going to on the chain that is going to expire today. Suppose I want to make that different, so I want to make some adjustments. So from here, I can make it 7-day. I can make it 7 days. So now this is a straddle created on the expiry in 7 days. Okay. If I want to say flip the positions or do anything like buy to sell to buy, you can do that here as well. Okay. So these are adjustments that you make before you have taken a position, just to see how it looks like before you are ready to commit to it. So now that I've committed, even after committing in the paper mode, we do allow you to make certain adjustments like we have seen in the strategy builder. Okay, so there's something called as the edit mode. In the edit mode, you do get to change most of these parameters per your choice. Okay. Now that I've taken these positions, now somebody was talking about, can I just click on a button and close? Yes, you can do that. So in the strategy builder, yes, I agree that you have to right click, but in this panel, all you have to do is click on this green or red buttons. Okay. So for example, if you hover over this, you can see that it says, let me go to the dark screen. If you hover over this, it says close position. So I can just click here and put the exit price at which I want to close the position, and it is a paper position. So for example, I want to choose $500, enter. That position gets closed and it will show in red color and will drop to the end of the leg list. Am I clear, guys?
And if it were a real position, then you
Same.
would need to specify, but we didn't specify whether it was a limit order or a market order.
No, by definition, this platform uses market order. Okay. And if it was a real position, let me take a real position, perhaps. I don't know if I have 1,000 contracts, a fund to take 1,000 contract. Let me make some edits. So for example, if I take, say 1 or 10 contract. Okay. And let me get rid of, so I have this 10 contract now. And say I want to take this position, I can click on this trade button, or I can use basket trade, whatever I wish. So trade button, it will open up this panel. Okay, the lots is 10 that I have chosen, and by definition here you can take limit or market, but while closing an order, it will always be a market order. So right now, for example, if I take, say, a market order, okay. So as you can see, I took a market order and it directly got captured under real. Okay. Now that I've taken it, if I wish to close it, I'll just click on close position, and yes, and it should close the position. As you can see, the position got closed. Okay. Now while closing this position, it was a market order. We will see that in the ledger. As you can see, these were all market orders.
So that's true for the entire Go charting platform. Like whenever you're closing the position, it would be closed via market order.
Correct. But while taking the position, you do have the ability to choose between limit or market, etc.
Okay. And a small feedback, the names seem a bit confusing, because what you're showing under payoff chart seems like the strategy builder, or what I think of a strategy builder. And the strategy builder is probably just a place where you can see your positions.
Yeah. So to be honest, both are strategy builders. This is more comes with the chart, and so based on user feedback, people said that we are more accustomed to looking at the payoff chart with the positions on the left hand side, so we added that. But in some of the platforms, you actually get to see it in the bottom. So it depends on what your preference is.
I have a question.
Yes.
What about the plotting of this P&L chart? I mean, like the payoff chart. What, does it consider the spreads, or does it consider the mark price of the options contract?
Okay, so when So let me explain to you in two ways. So first, let's consider a virtual trade. In a virtual trade, when you go to the settings, you have an option whether you want to enter and exit based on spread, bid ask, or based on LTP. Okay. By definition, it will be bid ask, which means you are entering the position on a buy at the best ask and exiting at the best bid. That is the default mode, but in a paper trade mode you can change it to LTP. Okay, but in terms of real trade, when you actually place the position, my understanding is Delta will always use the best bid or the best ask, which is the spread, uh, to cal to to uh, uh, to to calculate the entry point.
Yeah, but of course they will do. But the question is, when they're plotting, you're not considering this, right?
When plotting, you have the ability.
Payoffs.
Yes, so you have the ability to choose between LTP and bid ask.
All right, thanks.
Sushant, do you have bid ask available for all the contracts? I don't think so, right? Or
So
you
if
do?
bid ask is not available for a contract, only then will it use the LTP as a as a
Fallback.
calibrator, but
So,
preference will be given to bid ask.
so for real trades, you are using the bid ask that is available in the option chain to do these
Yes.
computations. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So other than this, these are the standard deviations. You can choose from here if you want 2 standard deviation, 1 standard deviation, break-even points. If you wish to choose, all of that is available here. On the top, you get to see the max profit, max loss, probability of profit. Now, let me get rid of this. Okay, now it looks better. So you get the probability of profit, premium, and the break-even points.
And what happens when you have options of different expiry in this basket? Then which expiry date will you select in that case?
So these are called calendar spreads. Okay. So in the case of a calendar spread, generally you take the nearest expiry among all the legs to calculate, say, any of these parameters like probability of profit or any of these parameters uses the nearest leg among all the legs that you have chosen.
Okay.
It's the nearest expiry.
Okay.
Now, if you wish to add an underlying or a futures, say BTC USD to it, you will click the BTC USD, and from here you can choose it and you can place that position. On the left-hand axis, you get to choose a couple of things. For example, you can actually on the left-hand scale, you can choose, say, if I wish to have, say, the gamma, how the gamma is going to kind of change with strike price. You can plot that. Any of the Greeks, say delta, gamma, or even open interest, if you wish to look at, which areas have a higher open interest. So all of that is possible here. Any questions so far? All right. Now, I think there was one other point that I wanted to cover. It's called the straddle mode. A straddle mode is basically an alternative view of the option chain. The only difference is, in this case, the system is going to add up the call side and the put side to create a straddle at every strike price. So for every strike price, you get a straddle comprising of the call and the put. And in this case, you get to, for example, this is the straddle LTP, this is the bid, ask, DK, this is the cumulative OI, which means addition of the OI on the call and the put side. Okay, this is the PCR value or the put call ratio value in terms of OI and volume. And this is what the max pain is. Max pain is generally basically you multiply the OI with the with the price, and you get to see which is the point at which this particular metric is lowest. So in this case, as you can see in magenta color, this is the point which is 22,600 is the lowest. This is what we are calling as the max pain point. Now, the advantage of this is there are many straddle traders who don't have to actually go out and calculate each of the straddle. The straddle view gives you a built-in view of all the straddles, and even if you want to sell or buy a straddle, it directly will pick up that from using these buy and sell buttons. So if I use a buy button on a straddle, it will actually pick up two legs, which is the call and the put on the same strike. So it's more convenience for straddle traders. That's all. Any questions so far? Okay. Last but not the least is the dashboard tab. This is more like a bunch of analytics curves. So for example, if I want to look at the open interest and I can choose the expiry, then I want to, or for example, if I want to see say the premium or the max pain. So all of these features are available here. So for example, I can go to volatility. So this is the volatility curve of the expiry in 7 days. And if I want to wish to compare it with the volatility of the other expiries, I will click the compare and I can choose the dates, okay, expiries, and you can see a different curve being chosen for the different expiries. This also kind of helps you, for example, in the case you want to look at the open interest, say on a cumulative basis for these three, for multiple expiries, that is available through this feature. Any questions? Sorry. That kind of brings me to the end of this session, unless you guys have any particular question. That is all from my end.
Team, feel free to ask any questions based on your usage, anywhere you've come across any hurdles here.
Sushant, if you go back to options chain and then if these buy and sell buttons on option chains are disabled, then how do you place a trade?
Disabled? What do you mean?
Like,
You mean
let's say this for some user, they have not enabled these buy or sell buttons from option chain. Now, how will I place a trade?
you only have to right click here, okay, on any of the contract. There are two ways. You can right click and you get two options. One is place real trades or place virtual trades. So based on that, it will do one of the two things that we just saw earlier.
I see.
And
Okay.
then you have something called as download to Excel if you wish to download this data for your analytics to Excel. The other way is if you click on the bid, it by definition will take a buy, okay? And if you take the ask, it by definition will take a sell. So clicking
Okay.
on the bid and ask will also do the same thing as the buy and sell buttons.
Okay. And then it's the order placement form is always like a basket order.
Yes.
Okay. And here, how do you specify a limit price if you want to place a limit order?
On a basket, I don't think that is possible. The basket by definition will go on a market order. But for example, if you place something on, say, paper trade, and then within the paper trade, if you wish to, move it from paper trade to a what do you call a real trade, that's where you get this option to choose between limit, market, stop, or stop limit.
Okay.
So
Is
in
there
short,
a is there a
if
yeah.
you use one leg at a time, you have the ability to place a limit order. But if you put it inside a basket, it by definition will take a market order.
But even then, even for a single contract order, you have to first do a paper trade and then you can place a limit order, or can you directly place a limit order?
You can. So what you have to do is, okay, so for example, here in the top, you have to choose real, okay? And then when I click on, say, a buy or a sell, okay, this panel will open up, okay? And you can choose limit here.
So then now I'm confused. So when does this panel open and when does it go to basket order?
So it depends whether you have chosen real or virtual.
Okay, so if I choose real, then how do I go to basket? How do I create a basket from this screen? I can't.
No, you cannot.
But I can go to payoff chart and create a basket.
Yes.
Okay, so see, all these things are not really, at least to me, they are not obvious, right? So this requires, I don't know, some bit of hand holding or some other way of that for user to be able to discover these things. Something is needed.
Okay. Do you think such webinars and more videos will help?
I think so, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like at least I learned something today. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, anyone has any other questions?
Yeah, I'm good for now.
All right, Sushant, thank you so much. Appreciate your
One
time.
more one thing I want to say. Can we have a documented type, like blog type on the strategy builder, like as we have things for other things?
A blog.
Yeah, because
Okay.
sometimes when videos users see the video, they don't know, because we have Indian customers as well who don't have very good in English language communication skills. So if they want to go slowly and we go through that, so they can read there and learn more about strategy builder and the procedures.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just a feedback. That's all from my end as well. Thank you.
Sushant, do you guys have a user guide of some sort?
We have a ton of videos in our YouTube channel.
Okay. Not a guide. Okay.
We should be having some guide in the next 1 or 2 months. It's work in progress, like a blog, like mentioned.
Okay, great. That will be helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any last questions, anyone? Okay. Then that's it for the session. Thanks a lot, Sushant. Thank you for taking out time for this. And I'm sure it was very helpful for all of us.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Sushant. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Sushant, who is left.